The reason that that's important is because if you've got something that's converting well and your rank is not in the top 5 and your impression rank is not very good, right? You got 5, 6, 7 competitors that are getting more impressions than you on that keyword. That's a clear signal you need to be spending more money on that keyword, right? This is how you start to optimize PPC. Now we've grown that to over 1,000 members and we've helped hundreds of people become millionaires in our teaching program. So that's our other business in conjunction with SEO. How do you use AI to make better products, better designs? And then how do you protect it with legal, with IP protection, with copyrights, with design patents? How do you create a moat so that once you do figure out what's working, you can really get some cohesive branding? Amazon is not sure what you're selling unless you tell the algorithm what you're selling. So this is the importance of being able to look at the data, find out what keywords matter to sell the product. What are the high value keywords that are driving sales? Where's the traffic going? How are people searching? How are your competitors getting sales? And you need to write your listing properly to send the right signals and maximize your rank potential. We do call it ranking juice, which is where ranking juice comes from. But you have to maximize your ranking juice. You have to maximize your rank potential by writing the listing properly. The rest of it comes down to your performance. I'm a seller. So I've got 3 businesses and they're all Amazon related. I always tell people I've got a 3-legged table. And so my first leg is I'm a seller. I've been selling since 2015. My wife and I started the business, and in 2016, we started doing private label. Our brands have done over 20 million the last 2 years each. And in 2018, we started teaching. We really started to figure out how to look at data, to pick products, to maximize our chances of success. And we figured we could teach others how to do it. And we created a program called Seller Systems. Now we've grown that to over 1,000 members, and we've helped hundreds of people become millionaires in our teaching program. So that's our other business. And then in 2022, we launched a software where we take a lot of those data-driven strategies where we were pulling a lot of data and putting them into a really unique and usable way. So you could really, get some clear insights on what products to sell, how to maximize the rank, what keywords to prioritize, what the risk of doing a product is. And we created a software called DataDive. Now, the great thing is that our team gets to use that DataDive. We get a lot of feedback from what we're doing and using it. And then now we have a whole community using it, and we just keep making the software better. So it keeps helping ourselves and our team and our sellers and our community and many other people. So it's a great 3-legged table. Everyone needs each other, and it's working great.
I love it, mate. I really do. I appreciate you and what you do in the community, and it's global now, mate. You're getting around to a lot of places. I really appreciate you joining us tonight too, because I know it is late. We're going to get to our conversation, and I'm not sure if you want to share slides, if you want to have a conversation, what you've prepared. It's all good from our side of things because you always deliver value, whatever you do. I know you've been on the road a lot lately, and you're back now by the look of it in your studio, but you did have managed to get to the Olympics. I saw that. And then on the way home, diverted through China. Just always got your finger on the pulse and in the business. I saw your post about not planning to go to China, but then flew home from the Olympics because something needed to be launched for these 10 new products that you're talking about. Like, you're on the ground, you've got teams, but you still went there to get things done because Q4 is coming up. These 10 products were important to you. These releases were important to you. And that's the sort of level of commitment that you show in your businesses and everything that you do, that you just said, you know what, Jennifer, we've got to go to China. Let's pull in, see what's going on, get these products going. And it's going to make all the differences. So when you show these screenshots of these amazing sales, people don't understand what actually happened to get there and what goes on behind the scenes as entrepreneurs. I just want to make that clear because I respect the things that you do.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, it's at the end of the day, you got to sometimes just roll up your sleeves and do it yourself. And the hardest thing about growing a business is finding the right people, the right processes, and putting a team in place to scale it. And You know, you've got to stay on top of it. You got to set goals and you got to work backwards from those goals. And then you've got to hire the right people to execute on it.
Mm.
And so what was happening is towards the end of last year, we had someone leave from our product team and we were left with one guy who was a junior. And we knew we needed somebody else. And so we hired somebody else. But then that junior who was doing a lot of the grunt work, you know, left. And so this new person we hired was thrown into the deep end without a life raft. And like a lot of things just needed to be done that, you know, catching up on. And so things just slipped. So we missed a bunch of product releases for the summer. You know, our biggest brand being a toy brand, we have a lot of summer toys, a lot of outdoor toys. And then we had a whole line. We have a luggage and a bags brand, and we missed a lot of releases coming into the school year. So for back to school, and I could see the writing on the wall that we were in the same trajectory to miss a lot of toys for Q4. We had 20 or more products in our pipeline that should have been done, and only two are ready to be ordered with a deadline of like the next week, right? Like this week.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so I said, you know what? Well, I don't know what the holdup is. I've been having regular meetings trying to push things along, but just communication amongst the teams with over 20 people over there. I said, let's just get on a plane. Let's just head over there. Let's visit some factories. Let's go to some showrooms. Let's visit with our team and um, let's just bang this stuff out. Like, let's make decisions and finalize designs and go, right? And yeah, I sacrificed a little bit of sleep, but got through it. We visited I ended up in 7 cities in 7 days with very little sleep, and I think I visited 5 different cities in China, uh, several factories, a showroom, and my office. And so it was quite the
Unbelievable.
experience. And I just got off a meeting before this with my team over there. They woke up early, and you know, I've had 2 meetings today about finalizing some product designs. But I think the reason that we're having some slowdown is that it's not just a people or a personnel thing. It's also that we have a new process in place around designing products with AI and making very unique and better designs. So we're not doing Me Too products. We're not just putting our stamp on a design that the factory gave us. We have a policy now where everything has to be original. It has to meet a certain standard. It has to be winning in either an IntelliV or a pick food test, right? Like we have to
Mm.
poll real audiences before we move forward with a product. And so it was a combination of design holding it up. It was a combination of getting the right validation done. And
Mm.
so part of what I was doing is just, you know, trying to explain how American kids are going to use some of these toys because they weren't quite getting it on the design side, right? And so it does slow down the process a little bit, but the success rate is much higher. The lifetime value of the product is much higher. And
Okay.
so previously with DataDive and picking products that you could win from an SEO perspective was enough, right? Just you could find niches out there where maybe one or two guys knew what they were doing and everybody else didn't. And if you just came in and were better at Amazon, then you'd win. But now that's not enough, right? Too many people are using DataDive. So now you have to go in and you have to have an original design that's just better and you have to protect it with a moat. So I think a lot of what I'm going to talk about moving forward is how do you use AI in conjunction with SEO? How do you use
Mm.
AI to make better products, better designs? And then how do you protect it with legal, with IP protection, with copyrights, with design patents? How do you create a moat so that once you do figure out what's working, you can really get some cohesive branding and make sure no one else can come in for at least as long as you can hold off, right?
That's amazing. I'm not sure if you want to do a presentation or you want to just keep riffing here because this is good too.
I've got a case study I can show you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I did one
Yeah.
the other day where I was looking for a product that's a big name brand product that's not
All
good at
right.
Amazon.
Awesome.
So we can go
You
back to data for just a minute to really just
okay?
showcase something.
And is that a drink of? Have you had a DataDive drink this evening to stay awake? Because I know you've got
I have
your.
not.
Because I know you've got your own drinks. It's crazy. It's DataDive
So we've got ranking
ranking
juice.
juice. I love it. I saw them
This
for the
was
first
Anthony's
time.
idea, and my design team put it together and executed really well. But I've got a fridge full, and I do have a couple cases I'm going to bring to co-create in Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, when
If
I
you
was
do
at
want to drink it.
Classic.
when I was at
Classic.
Brandon's event in Florida in the US in January, Camp Ecom, for those who are interested, for next year, they had a cooler full of ranking juice, and I'm like, "What's this ranking juice?" And it's like, you know how people bring out drinks for gamers or this and that. I'm thinking, man, Brandon's getting into the Amazon product research juice now, and we're gonna, it's really, really cool, man. It's a good play on
Someone
things.
should make a gaming juice. I think it would do really well, right?
Well, I think there's some that's out there that they promote for gaming. That's why I thought that's what you're getting into for the Amazon seller.
Yeah, we could. I mean, to me, it has a little bit too much sugar in it, so I try not to. I try to drink them sparingly. Today I went with the sugar-free Red Bull earlier, so I
Okay, there
do
you
drink
go.
a little
There you
bit of.
go. No
I'm trying to
ranking
cut out
juice.
the energy drinks. One energy drink and one coffee. But notice the size of this one, right? If I keep it to just one, but it's massive and really 3-in-1, it still counts as only one.
Oh, I would have needed
I'll
that.
I told my wife. I told my wife, all right, I'll only have one a day, right?
I'll let you share screen. While you're doing that, I just want to let the audience know the importance of being able to be rubbing shoulders with people at this event. As you can see, just from a fireside chat, the things that you learn about when you're talking to people of this experience. So that's another benefit of coming along to Southern Seller Fest, that you'll get to rub shoulders and see these experienced sellers and service providers in the room and be able to help your business. But I just wanted to let you know that, because I've had many fireside chats with Michael and Brandon, even Jason, yourself, and just having those conversations at that high level, you'll always be able to help each other and learn new things.
It's where you learn the most, man. I mean, you need a tribe. You need people around you that have been there and done that, who have made the mistakes, taken the bumps and bruises, so you don't have to, right? And hopefully, if they had something bad happen and it took them a long time to get it fixed, maybe they have a quick fix for you, or they can help you through that. So you got to surround yourself with other people that are going through it. That's a really big and an important part.
And that sparks something in my mind, how you've shared your journey over the last couple of months with your IP infringement. So
Right.
I know that's another topic, but your business was turned upside down overnight, and you shared that whole journey publicly on all your social avenues, so people could learn from that. Now, that was a big thing. Like, you guys are doing $30, $40 million a year to get the tap turned off, but then to share your lessons and your journeys and your resources and what you learned. I thought that was more, I don't know, generous, or, than anything that, to be able to just say to people, hey, look, this is what can happen, but we got through it.
At the end of the day, we got to keep it real. Like this, first of all, this business is really hard enough as it is. Like you have to crawl up some really steep learning curves, right? Between product development, keyword research, and then figuring out logistics, product development, content creation, becoming artistic to an extent, and then marketing being the beast that it is, because it drives your keyword ranks. You need to send the right signals. You need to know what ads to run, how much to bid, when to back off, when to put your foot on the gas, right? So marketing becomes 1,000 hours to become an expert at, or 10,000 hours, whatever the saying is, right? And so trying to climb that learning curve yourself is going to be painful. But we learned a couple valuable lessons, because Amazon is broken to an extent with regards to the way the different departments communicate with each other. And we had a false IP complaint, and it was something that I thought should have been easily cleared up. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with one department that wants to protect Amazon from a legal standpoint, and just is covering their ass, right? And then on the other end, you've got other people who are trying to appeal for you, but you're running into a barrier, because to get to that first team, you have to go through legal, and legal has to review things in a much more thorough way, and you have to have the right way to get to legal, right? So you've got to FedEx something, and you've got to have it written in the right way, and presented in the right way. And so I spent 3 weeks really with this IP complaint, taking a product down right before Prime Day, and I had three variations. It took the hero down, and so that cost us thousands of dollars through those 3 weeks, probably well over $10,000. And then we had, after 3 weeks, our account health rating had gone to zero because of the complaints. Like it was counterfeit complaints, right? Even though it was our own product and we weren't infringing on anything, it's just we could not express that because of the way that the system is written. They were waiting for me to go get permission from the guy that said I was infringing on, right?
Mm.
Even though I wasn't infringing, and obviously he's not going to give me permission because he filed the fake complaint to begin with, right?
Mm.
So I'm trying to write to them and prove to them that it's my product and I'm not infringing, but that department can't make that decision because they're not a legal department. And it's an IP issue. It's a legal issue. So we're trying to escalate it, trying to get in front of someone that had any sense and the power. And we had a bunch of people that had sense, but not the power. And so we were just kind of running into these walls. And finally, my account went down because a different department has an SOP that says if your account health is zero for X amount of time, you get suspended. The whole account gets suspended because of these, 3 SKUs, these three complaints. And so now I'm like in desperation, obviously. And I said, all right, I gotta call in every favor I have. Obviously, and the blessing that we have is through helping so many people. Sorry. We had people that cared about us, that were willing to go to bat for us, that got on phone calls, that wrote personal emails and connected us on personal phone calls with executives. And so finally we got through to somebody that, whoever it was, right? I mean, we had Paul Raffleson, we had Chris McCabe, we had Yale, Kabili, and we had many, many other friends that just randomly had been through things, that had randomly made a contact with an executive. And so I didn't sleep for a few days, and it had already been a little tough going into that. But luckily, we were able to get to a position where I found out that there was a giant thread going on about me. And I had over 20,000 impressions on the video I put out talking about it. And 3% of them were in the greater Seattle area. So that tells you that a lot of Amazon employees were looking at it. And yeah, luckily some sense, they reinstated the listings. They took they reinstated the account, but our sales didn't fully recover on some of our SKUs. We went from, $35,000-$40,000 a day to 25,000. And, we're still trying to figure out what's going on with some of the SKUs that have not fully recovered. We're tracking the keywords where, traffic is down. And so at the end of the day, we're probably still going to lose over 6 figures in profit from this one issue, from this one guy. If we can't, figure out a few of these products. And that's just from being down for, 2.5 days or whatever it was.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. Must have taken a huge toll on you and the team, mate, especially with all the hard work that you've got going on in the background to launch these products as well. But glad it's worked out at least. Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest thing is that, we always try to do things the right way. And I know that the guy is not happy because at the end of the day, this kid, I mean, he's in his 20s. I know who it is. I'd spoken to him. He filed a false complaint a year prior, right before Black Friday, and had us down through Black Friday, but it was easily defendable. So we got it back. But I still got on a phone call with him, and I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I know that you're not happy that I created a game that's similar to yours, but you can't protect a game system. It'd be like protecting T-ball or rugby, right? Or multiple people can create, stuff like that, right? And so I said, you know what? Like, they couldn't get their brand name because the brand name is too descriptive. The trademark was denied, right? And I was using their name brand in my listing because I knew it wasn't protected, right? And it's very descriptive about what the product is. So I was still using it. And because I know law. And so I said, you know what? I don't need to do this, but I'm going to take it out of my listing and I'm going to take it off my packaging. And I wish you the best of luck. If you need any advice on Amazon, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. Like, that's our wheelhouse. I'm happy to help you. I wish you the best of luck type of thing. And so I immediately responded. This was in February or January, leading after my you know, after the holidays when I was in China after Camp Ecom. And I immediately told my team, I said, change all the designs, the new packaging, any new products going out. We'll sell through this inventory, but then we'll change it over. And I didn't have to do that, but you know, I did. And then coming into, you know, Prime Day, he takes us down again saying that we're infringing. But luckily I had changed all my packaging, because even though he still doesn't have the rights to it, Amazon was saying that I was still infringing on it. So I don't know why, like they were pointing out a design mark, like a logo, and you can't use a logo. But I wasn't using the logo, right? Like a logo is just a design. And the logo, when funny enough, if this is a good lesson for people, when you have trademarks, there's two types of trademarks, right? There's a design mark, which is a logo, and then there's a word mark. The word mark protects your words, right? Uh, and to an extent, like sometimes you will have to give up the right or exclude one of the words in your brand name. So if your brand name has sports in it, for example, you don't have the exclusive right to use sports. You have to tell the trademark office that you know, they're going to ask it and you forgo it and it says it on your trademark. You do not have the exclusive right to sports, obviously. With theirs, when you get a design mark or a logo, you don't have the rights to any of those words. It's just the words, right? So I can go ahead and I can create an Apple logo that's unique to Apple company, right? ABC or whatever the brand, the parent company of Apple is. But I don't have the right to use the word Apple exclusively, and I have to be careful using the word Apple because Apple owns Apple, right? For a lot of different product niches. So you have to really understand the law there. And then that was one of the issues we were running into, which is when they filed this, they were pointing at their trademark. And then they had used an old packaging box that they had previously purchased and said, see, they're using our word mark. And the team at Amazon didn't know the difference, right?
Wow.
The seller performance team or whatever. And this is a legal issue, and they should know these things, but you know, not everyone knows it. So that was where the hang up was. And luckily it came down. They actually went and checked my inventory and they saw that I had new packaging that I'd put in February or March, right? So all of my new inventory that's in Amazon doesn't have the word on it, even that they don't have the right to. But the fact that it even came down to them checking my inventory is a huge problem too, right? It just shows you how broken things are at Amazon. So just be careful. I mean, I don't know what lesson, there's a bunch of lessons in there and we're still trying to sort through it, but hopefully you guys learned something about trademarks and the way Amazon works. And if you get a counterfeit complaint and it has to do with a logo or some IP, some of it you can make go away right away if you don't have infringing inventory. So you can just take it out of your listing and then they'll reinstate you right away, right? And you know, you just like, oops, right? I admit I made the mistake. Update your listing on the back end, point to it, have Seller Health call you, point to it, you'll get back up and running. If you have it in your inventory, you have to recall your inventory. You have to, you know, that's the first step. If you're going to admit to something, you got to show action. Recall your inventory and say, I'm sorry, any additional inventory you had on the way, you got to reroute, you got to repackage it. You got to, if you have an insert card that uses the word or that you can't use, if you've got instructions that use the word you can't use, you got to redo it all. Show Amazon that you're taking that effort and then you'll get it back up and running. But you know, do it before your entire account comes down like mine did, right?
Let me ask you this, Brandon, and it's probably a good little segue. For anyone out there who's probably at the start of their journey, the lessons here are what? Get legal, get someone in IP to check out your logos, the brand names that you're coming up with. Like, what's your advice for that end of the spectrum for people who are watching?
I highly recommend with almost every product to budget at least an additional $1,000 for legal checks and for filing your own some form of trademark or a copyright on your images, you know, on any characters you create, on any designs you create. And it could go up to $4,000 or $5,000, right? Depending on what you're filing. So just check uspto.gov for the .com market. Make sure that there's no trademark already being used and registered that is similar to yours or similar enough to where it could cause confusion, because that's often the litmus test. If it could cause confusion to the public, they're gonna side with the guy that you're infringing on, right? And So a lot of people think that they're okay just changing a single word or using them out of order, right? Don't do stuff like that, right? Get the real advice from an attorney. Doesn't cost you a little bit extra. Don't go the cheap route with LegalZoom and follow your own trademarks. I know a lot of people recommend that. Unless you have any type of background and you really are sure that there's nothing out there filed, just go through a law firm. There are a bunch out there that are really great in the space that help Amazon sellers in particular. I'm sure you guys have relationships with a couple of those guys.
For sure. Getting on a bit for some time. Maybe we'll leave the case study. The reason being is, hey, come along to Singapore and see Brandon in the flesh. How about that for a play? Unless you want to do it and you've got something to share, mate, because I want to be able to point people in your direction. If you've got any slides for DataDive or offers or seller systems, please, if you want to do the case study and we churn it out in 5 minutes, I'll let you do that as well.
I could do it in 3. I'll run
right,
through
do
it.
in
Hopefully
3.
there's a replay.
There is a replay. There is a replay.
All right.
You go for it.
I'll just speed through it. I think what the biggest thing that I wanted to show you guys is that once you break down the data, right, it really starts, and this might be small on your screen. I saw there was a big screen at the booth that people might be watching on. And if you're having to squint, I apologize. But if you've got the best selling competitors and you aggregate all the keywords that they're on, you can really start to tell some really cool stuff about relevancy and about who's doing the right thing and the wrong thing, right? So the key here is that you've got Farberware, who's a $1 billion brand, and you've got, they're selling this knife set. It's a knife block set, and they've got a few accessories in it, but you got a bunch of green here, which means they're not indexed very well for some keywords. And if you look at what those keywords are, you got knife set, and you've got kitchen knife set, they're number 42. Now, a big trick is that if Amazon puts you anywhere between 32, 35, and 55, that's the where they put people that they're not sure whether that keyword is relevant to your product. It means that you're having an indexing issue. Anything that's just green, you're not even on page 5 or below, then that tells you that Amazon doesn't even think it's relevant at all, right? That you have a real big indexing issue or a relevancy issue. And so we looked at kitchen knives, knife set, kitchen knife set, and got some Spanish terms. And what I wanted to do is just show you that once I did zoom in a little bit. You got knife set, and we broke down the keywords into different root words. So we like to break down all those words into repeated words and phrases. And you can see knife set is so important. 327 of those 500 keywords use knife set, and it's over 1.3 million searches a month. That's an insane amount, right? And so why wouldn't Farberware, who's one of the biggest brands, and let's see, they're making 4,000 sales a month, but they're getting beat by Hunter, Duel, and Henkel's, which I think are private label brands, right? Who have double the sales. Farberware at half the price, they're selling here for $24.99 instead of $69 and $149, is struggling. And you can see why they're struggling. They're selling, they don't have enough of a margin to pay someone that knows what they're doing on Amazon, apparently. Because what we end up seeing here is that if you look at their title, they have triple rivet, high carbon stainless steel knife block and kitchen tool set precision cutlery. Nowhere do you have knife set, knife block set, or have knife block, but no set, and no knives, plural, right? So Amazon is not sure what you're selling unless you tell the algorithm what you're selling. So this is the importance of being able to look at the data, find out what keywords matter to sell the product. What are the high value keywords that are driving sales? Where's the traffic going? How are people searching? How are your competitors getting sales? And you need to write your listing properly to send the right signals and maximize your rank potential. We do call it ranking juice, which is where ranking juice comes from. But you have to maximize your ranking juice. You have to maximize your rank potential by writing the listing properly. The rest of it comes down to your performance, to making sure that you're getting the right click-through rate, conversion rate, right content, right price point, right design. But you're way behind, and you can't win if you don't write your listing properly. You don't do the right keyword research and SEO part first.
Where can people find you? Oh, that's a silly question. How do people how do people get in contact with you and the team and Seller Systems and DataDive and all that cool and wonderful stuff?
You know, anyone watching, if you guys want a free trial of DataDive, like this is an offer we don't make very often, right? Because it's something, I know you've got a lot of people registered for this, and I don't want people coming in and not using it properly or whatever. But if you do want a free trial, I can make that happen. So here's the caveat. You've got to be an active seller, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to already be selling. Otherwise, start with the starter plan at $30, right? You don't need a free trial on the $30 plan.
Yeah.
But if you want
gotcha.
a free month of the $150 plan, and it's 20% off with your code, I believe. So you guys have
we'll
SSF?
share that. We don't have a SSF
Okay.
code yet, but we'll get it off your team and share that.
Okay. So you can get that code ongoing, right? But all I want you to do is do your first dive. You know, you'll go through a tutorial, you'll do your first dive, and then turn on our rank tracker. Now, we call it Rank Radar, and it's very innovative. All you have to do, it shows you keyword ranks and your ad performance at the keyword level and your impression share. The reason that that's important is because if you've got something that's converting well and your rank is not in the top 5 and your impression rank is not very good, right? You got 5, 6, 7 competitors that are getting more impressions than you on that keyword. That's a clear signal you need to be spending more money on that keyword, right? This is how you start to optimize PPC. So the key is you're tracking the keywords that not as a lagging metric anymore, right? Because we used to see, oh, what did the keyword ranks do when I did that thing? That was the traditional way of using a keyword tracker. Now we're using a keyword tracker to really understand what can we do better, right? And this is, you know, really quickly, this is what this looks like. So I've got all the keywords here. This is a keyword that's not indexed. I've got an indexing issue. So I got to go fix my listing. And then I've got keywords here, but over here, I've got my impression rank. Look at this keyword. Let me see. Let me find something that's got my impression rank here is number 6 on this keyword, 3,000 search volume. I do not have, here's how all the campaigns that I'm targeting this keyword with. I do not have an exact, I do not have a phrase, and I only have one broad campaign targeting this keyword. Meanwhile, it's got a 26% conversion rate. What am I doing, right? I might have an indexing issue here. I might need to go write this keyword into my listing better in a more exact way. But these are the insights you should get from a keyword tracker. This is what Rank Radar does for you with DataDive. If you go and do a dive and you turn on a Rank Radar and start tracking some keywords, write to support and tell them that you saw this video with Southern Seller Fest with these guys, and I will get you a month of credit. You will get the whole $150 back for the month on me.
That's awesome.
You're a legend, mate. I wonder if they're ever going to make a statue, a bronze statue of Brandon Young someday and put it somewhere
in Seattle.
in Seattle, right next to the IP
after I donate
office.
$1 billion to someone.
Yeah, true.
All jokes aside, we love having you around, helping us and supporting us. And we just can't wait to do something else again. You know, every year we seem to hook up and it's awesome. And November, this time it's in Singapore. I just can't wait to see you and the team again. And I know the Singapore community, what they're in store for. You can see today we just had a bit of a fireside chat, little few bits and pieces. I learnt a lot. I'm sure you guys will be blown away with what Brandon has to bring to the table. And, you know, Brandon is pretty sought after now around the global selling communities as far as events. His schedule is very, very full. So when we brought this event to Singapore, I was crossing my fingers that he would be available because you just don't know. He's just so busy, and he is. And so just on that, I'm grateful. And I think everyone in Singapore,
man. Like, look, I've never been to Singapore. I love hanging out with you guys. And this gives me a great excuse to go visit a beautiful country and to be around friends. Like, you don't have to pull my arm too hard, guys.
Yeah,
so, I know it's a little bit of travel, and it's you know, November, but I'm gonna make it work because, you know, how could I not, right? Like what you guys offer when you're there with so many amazing people. I can't speak highly enough around the importance of going to events, finding your tribe, building a network of people who are just great, genuine, awesome people who are doing great things. That's going to rub off on you. You're the average of the people you keep around you. Going to an event like Southern Seller Fest is just going to level you up. It's going to rub off on you. You can't help it.
Well said.
Well said, Brandon. We're going to let you go because you're very busy and you probably got meetings at who knows what time to still go, but who knows. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a couple of months' time. And if anyone out there would like to take that offer on that Brandon said, we'll make sure we get that out to everybody and that code for the percentage off. And if you are a seller and meet the caveats that Brandon mentioned, please reach out to their team. Brandon, we'll let you go, brother. Lots of love. Take care. You and
Thanks,
Jennifer,
mate.
look after yourselves. And we always appreciate you, man.